and is a place where I want to grow old and where my family and other families can thrive. I am dedicated to building a safe, affordable, and inclusive Nipawin. I'm committed to serving all residents by voicing your concerns and prioritizing the community's best interests. Not my own, not my friends or the select few, but everyone's interests. I believe in honesty, transparency, and being held accountable. I barely have any conflicts. I'm a homeowner. My wife works at the church. I'm leading a nonprofit organization, and I work in an insurance office. So there'll be very few things that keep me away from being at the table. And I understand that we as a community have to work together in this. This isn't just a one-man show, 6 people who run for a council and a mayor. We need everyone in the community to be involved. I'm a straight shooter, upfront and bluntly honest. And I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm sold out to this community, and I'm willing to serve, to do this job, and to be a part of council. My name is Tyler Shore. Thank you for your consideration.
Hi, I'm Stacy Vick. I've been here for 60 years. I raised 2 children and have my wife Carol here. I've been a volunteer firefighter for over 20 years. I currently sit on council and I am on the park board, regional park board. I'm running for council because I'm proud and I believe in Nipawin. The biggest promise I can give you is I will serve with honesty and integrity to not just one or a group, but to all of Nipawin. My concerns are the same as Jeff's and Tyler's. We have crime, we have homelessness, would like to have growth, and work on myself is local business so that we can sustain our businesses and grow the town that way. We always look for industry. I like to use the word mindustry, so you can have a couple or 3 or 4 people working toward just one product, or maybe we can improve on another. I ask you for your vote, and I'm Stacy Vick, and thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kylie Neudorf. I was born and raised in a small town outside of Prince Albert. I moved to Nipawin in 2008 to open Oxford Dental Clinic. At that time, I had never been to the town of Nipawin. I had no ties or relationships here. I very quickly fell in love with the town and the community and chose to settle here and start a family. I am a mother of 2 amazing kids, Zaina and Nolan, and soon to be the wife of Trevor Rahalik. I've been working at Oxford Dental Clinic since 2008, where I was the general manager for over 10 years, balancing budgets, staffing, schedules, orders, and growing the business with great pride. From 2006 to 2018, I contributed to the startup and opening of 4 dental clinics throughout Saskatchewan. With my experience in leadership and finance management, I am confident that my skills will be a benefit to the town of Nipawin, leveraging my strengths in honesty, transparency, communication, and unwavering dedication to achieve exceptional results. If elected on council, what my intentions are and hopes are is to work collaboratively with our local RCMP to foster a safer and cleaner community. I aim to promote economic growth and incentives for people to invest in Nipawin like I did. I intend to proceed with current council's initiatives to address neglected, abandoned, and public safety hazard buildings in Nipawin. I aim to be a representative for Nipawin citizens, where I strive to gather and address concerns and suggestions to drive practical and implementable solutions. I pride myself on being a very honest and transparent person, guiding me to make well-researched and thoughtful decisions. Up until 2001, I lived on an acreage outside of Nipawin. Now that I live in Nipawin, I want to be an active, contributing member of the community. I may not have all the answers, and to say I would be foolish. But what I can promise everybody is every decision that I make will be educated, informed, and without bias. Thank you for your consideration.
Hi, my name is Les Blair, and I just want to take a second to thank the Apostolic Church for putting this on. I listened to the mayor's forum coming home from Saskatoon on Monday, and it was fantastic. I never missed a word. It was a job very well done, whoever was responsible for that. As I said, my name is Les Blair, and I've lived in Nipawin with my wife for 23 years, going on 23 years in the same house. Our boys graduated from LP Miller. I graduated from LP Miller in 77. I got a couple of years on you, Tyler. We love our community. That's why I decided to enter this election, and with Kathy's blessing. In 2015, I lost a good oil patch job due to the recession, or a recession, one of the many, and came home not sure what the future had in store for us, so tried a few things. Working for a wage was just that, working for a wage. So we decided to go it on our own, and we started Clean Cabin Courier. Answering the phone 24/7 was not the most ideal situation, but I knew if we committed to it, it would pay off. And through this time, we were able to connect with a rail company and some medical people, and we were able to do some transportation for them with 7 vans running around the province. And yes, we're still answering the phone 24/7. In 2021, we were approached to take over the package handling services in the community, so we opened up the Clean Cab Distribution Center, handling per later FedEx, UPS, and other couriers that required. At that time, Carson joined with us and has become an extremely important part of the team. Now, in those last 9 years in the taxi business, it's showed us both the good and the bad. And that's what brings me to the decision to run for council. We have a beautiful community. Newcomers tell us that every day, that we see come into the store or in the taxi or whatever. We have a tremendous wealth of activities for kids. Was that a minute already? Holy cow. The moms and dads and grandparents, and we are very lucky. I'm sure we'll have more discussions as we get along, but I'll pass this on.
My name's Lyndon Lundbach. Most of you don't know me. I haven't been around here for very long, but I was born and raised in Watrous, Saskatchewan, and I spent my summer holidays at my grandparents' and uncle's farm at Ratner, just a few miles southwest of here. And it was then I became aware that I loved agriculture, and I recognized the recreational opportunities and the access to the wilderness in this area. So I went to university, took agriculture. During that time, I got my private pilot's license. After graduation, I decided I'd pursue the pilot thing because I was pretty good at it and I enjoyed it, so I got my commercial and twin rating. After a while doing that, I was hoping to get on with the big boys, but they decided they didn't like pilots that had to wear glasses, so went back to agriculture. In Watrous, Saskatchewan started a research farm, so I ended up working there. Well, there I was elected director for the local credit union and delegate for that credit union plus some neighboring town credit unions. I was also elected to the board of the co-op and was delegate for the co-op to federated co-ops as well. After working at the farm for about 23 years there, my job position got toasted. So after a couple other jobs, I ended up at Lakeland College working for Alberta Environment, administering a provincial program for them. And along with that, I was sitting on the board, a national board under Health Canada. While at the college, there was 4 of us, including the dean who I worked under. We applied for a federal grant for research, and we were successful in obtaining a $4.5 million grant, and we started a research facility there. I see the timer's counting down. I didn't even get close to finishing. But anyway, we'll talk to you later. I'm sure a few things will come up during the discussions.
My name's John Dempster. I've lived in this town off and on for the last 35 years. Any of the time I lived here, I worked for Nipawin Chrysler. A lot of people would know me from there. Whenever we left to go away, it was with Lyle Stankowski's blessing, because I was moving to other dealerships into a higher up management position. And so it seemed that Lyle knew when I was tired of being away from here, because he'd phone up and ask me what I was doing. And I'd tell him I was watching TV, and he'd say, well, shut it off, pack your bags, and come back, because I want you back here. So we did that. And early on when we moved here, I told my wife that I wanted to retire here. And over the last few years, I've been a volunteer with the Nipawin Hawks, from board member to vice president. When we moved back the last time, the last year I was coaching, I was 65 years old, coaching bantam and midget hockey, of which hockey is something I love. But I also have a certificate in psychology. I have a certificate in chemical dependency. So the psychology part gives me the ability to understand profoundly people when they're speaking with me. And the chemical dependency part, along with that, helps me to understand our homeless and drug-addicted people that we need to help. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'll start by saying this. Nipawin is more than just a town. It's a way of life. It's a place where down-to-earth, community-minded, and resilient people are at the heart of our community. Life here feels simpler than the chaos of this big city, and we're so fortunate to have first-class recreational opportunities right at our doorstep. There's just something special about Nipawin. I mean, from the sunset we had tonight to the regular Northern Lights displays that we have, this is just the kind of place you want to share, which is why I'm constantly recruiting my friends and family from BC and Alberta to come and join us here. I deeply believe in the unique value of this community, and I'm excited about the future. While this is my first time stepping into public office, I'm no stranger to hard work. I've had the privilege of working with organizations like the Calgary Flames, where I learned the power of loyalty and teamwork. In ag tech, where I saw firsthand how innovation can tackle real-world challenges. And now with North Fringe, where I'm reminded every day of the importance of resourcefulness, persistence, and getting the job done. These roles have prepared me to serve the residents of Nipawin, and I'd consider it an honor to give back this way to the community that I care so deeply about. I want Nipawin to be a place that feels safe and welcoming to all residents and visitors, a place where young people feel excited to return home to after their education or world travels, coming back as teachers, nurses, doctors, business owners, and community builders. I believe in steady, sustainable growth that respects the values that built this town while creating opportunities for future generations. I'm proud to call Nipawin home, and when you're proud of something, you want to take care of it. I want everyone here tonight and those watching at home to feel that same sense of pride, a pride that connects us and motivates us to build a community we're all responsible for preserving, protecting, and proudly promoting everywhere we go. Tonight is very much a job interview, and I want to thank you for considering me for the role. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, tackle the work ahead, and help shape Nipawin into a place that we're all proud to call home. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Seiferling. I have lived here since May of 1991 with my husband, Jamie. We raised 3 daughters, and 2 out of 3 of them decided to return back to Nipawin. And I chose to run 4 years ago because this community is special. It's so special because we have the uniqueness of where we're located. So we have people that come from the east to shop, and we have people locally that shop here. And while being on the, while I've been part of council the last 4 years, I've had the privilege of sitting on the library board. I'm also a part of the Hub Steering Committee, and I'm very proud to have joined Jeff. Both of us joined at the same time, I believe, or perhaps he joined a few weeks or a few months before me, but I'm proud to say that I also am sitting currently on the Twin Lakes District Planning Committee. And we're looking forward to cutting the ribbon soon once we get the go-ahead from Transport Canada. My nursing background allowed me to work in acute care for many years, as well as home care. I worked in Cumberland House for 10 years as a manager of the provincial unit there. And I retired for 2 years, and then I went back while I was on town council to fulfill a federal grant, which was the harm reduction nurse between this community and Cumberland House. And I'm done.
Thank you, candidates. I have some prepared statements that I will read from several of the candidates that were not able to attend. To begin with, I'll start with Brenda Lee Beliveau. First, I would like to thank all the mayoral and council candidates for stepping forward and having the courage to dedicate their time to be part of the governing body for our community. As we know, these positions come with some challenges, but can also be very rewarding when used as an opportunity to make a difference. I am not able to attend as I had a prior engagement for this date, but the Chamber has accommodated me by reading my introduction, allowing me to answer questions once I return. A little about myself. I am third in 5 generations that have worked and or lived in Nipawin, the oldest being my grandparents and the youngest being my granddaughter. I have worked in many areas in Nipawin, including my younger years in the retail and service industry. I have been employed with Saskatchewan Health Authority for the past 13 years, working in the front office of the Nipawin Hospital, Kids First, and as an office assistant in the Nipawin Home Care Office. I am certified as an educational associate in office education and as a victim services coordinator. I am the Nipawin Métis Local 134 president, and we continue to build our members and get involved in sharing our culture in the community. I am interested in running for council because I am passionate about serving my community and the people in it. I will work hard to ensure our town remains a great place to live, work, and grow. I am the Nipawin Métis local president and took over this position on April 2nd, 2023. I spent a lot of time learning about our constitution, policy, bylaws, and resolutions. I feel this experience has given me a good start to understanding governance and the importance of this work. In my time in this position, I have created an office and have all books, financials, and insurance in place. I have applied for infrastructure grants and have been updating and improving our local building. Our council planned, organized, and implemented many events and participated in community events. We just finished our 2nd annual kitchen party that we organized, and it has been successful in attendance and local support. My work experience has also allowed me knowledge and education that cannot always be taught in school. I have worked with Saskatchewan Health Authority and worked part-time for Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Social Services as an office assistant. These jobs helped me to understand how to operate and gave me a view of our community from a different perspective. So I believe my time is up for that. She does have some closing remarks, so I'll read the last of her opening statement before I read the closing remarks later. Next, I'll read Laura Nicholet's opening remarks. Good evening, everyone. This evening, I'd like to share a bit about who I am and what drives me. My journey has always been intertwined with a deep-seated commitment to community and leadership. Through my involvement with Nipawin and the Rise Up Community Foundation, I strive to empower women in rural areas, ensuring their voices are heard and valued. I find great joy in intellectual conversations where I delve into social issues, seeking meaningful insights and solutions. Fashion, too, plays a vital role in my life. It's more than just clothing, it's a form of self-expression, and I have a particular fondness for vintage pieces like my treasured 2009 CRF 230 Cherry Red Honda dirt bike. Staying informed is crucial to me. I keep a keen eye on local, national, and global news, maintaining a well-rounded perspective. Financially, I'm always on the lookout for investment opportunities, monitoring stock market trends closely. Effective communication is one of my strengths. I believe in direct, constructive engagement and pride myself on navigating high conflict situations with calm and clarity. Above all, I balance pragmatism with empathy, constantly striving to improve community relations and foster positive change. I'm not easily swayed or bullied by the loudest voices. You can always count on me to do the right thing for the people. Thank you for listening, and I encourage you to vote for me as we continue to plan for growth for the future. Does this speech resonate with how you see yourself? Laura Nicollet. Lastly, I have an opening statement from Reg LaRiviere. Hello, my name is Reg LaRiviere. I'm running for councillor of Nipawin. A little about myself is I am a hometown boy who has spent the majority of my life right here in Nipawin. I am married with 2 wonderful boys. I have been employed in the municipal industry for almost 11 years, over 10 of which was with the town of Nipawin. I have always been interested in municipal governance, and because I was employed by the town of Nipawin, I could never run for council. Now that I am employed elsewhere, I can now run for council of our great town. A couple of things I would like to address if I'm lucky enough to be able to represent the citizens of Nipawin for the next four years would be, number 1, I would like to look into the work environment of our town staff and make sure they are happy to come to work and safe while being there. In my opinion, a staff filled with happy individuals will accomplish way more than unhappy staff, as well as knowing that they are safe from abuse while at work makes their life a lot more enjoyable. Number 2, I would like to look into Nipawin's rising crime rate, as well as our homeless residents, which might possibly be linked together. Whether that is meeting with the RCMP more often and meeting with other agencies to see if we can brainstorm some solutions, or contacting our provincial government to see if there's any funding we could receive to address these issues, to contacting some out-of-town agencies in the bigger centers to see what they do to help in these issues. I believe Nipawin to be an awesome place to raise a family and to spend your retirement years here. I know that if we can get Nipawin back to where our family and friends feel safe walking home at night from whatever event is happening, or walking to work in the morning, we'd also be able to draw people and businesses to our great community. Onward and upward, Nipawin. Thank you for your time. Okay, so now we're going to start our question period. The first question I'm going to pose, the first answer will come from Tyler, and then we'll just move down the table and Jeff will be the last to answer. So the first question that I have, Tyler, is what qualifications would make you a good candidate for council?
Well, to be honest, I'm one of the people in the community. I'm just like everyone else that's sitting out in the audience here. I'm a family man. I'm married with 4 children. I know what the struggle is like for families nowadays. I know what it's like. We feel the pinch every day, right? And you know, I believe that to serve council, to be qualified is, for starters, is to listen to the people that are out there. How can you possibly do your job without the community? And for other qualifications, it's being willing to learn, being willing to sacrifice oneself for the greater good. And that's why I viewed the job, and that's how I view the job, and that's what I'm willing to do, and that's how I view myself to be qualified for it.
Thank you. Stacey.
I guess that'd be better. I believe I'm qualified for the job. I've lived here all my life. I'm committed to Nipawin. I'm committed to seeing business thrive in Nipawin. I've always, I've coached, I've been involved with so many things in Nipawin. I guess I'm just passionate about keeping this town progressing positively. I have a business background, so I have a business, actually diploma in business administration. So that helps out in decision making. And I just promise to do the best job I possibly can.
Thank you. Don't be afraid to hold the mic fairly close to your mouth. I could hear you pretty well, but I want to make sure that everybody that's listening on the radio or at home can hear well. Kylie, please.
I think that I would be qualified for council. I've been running a business since 2008, and with running a business has its stressors, just like being on council does. But one of the things a good counselor is a really good listener. You have to be able to listen to the people. You also have to make really, really informed decisions and not rash decisions. I'm somebody who every decision I make comes from a lot of research, a lot of questions, and I don't think that I think I'm a very level-headed person. I'm a mom. I'm here in the community raising my kids. I plan to be here forever. I want to create a safe community like the rest of you. So I've invested in this town. I want more people to invest in this town. I want it to make it a beautiful community that brought me here, that made me stay here.
Thank you. Les.
Qualifications. That's a broad scope. My qualifications are simple: honesty, being able to listen, and assess issues. Being a businessman as well, you're always dealing with adversity and good fortune, hopefully sometimes. So, I guess my qualifications would be that: just simply honesty and listening and working hard to, as Kylie said, return our community back to the beautiful place it is. But above all of that, my qualifications would be the passion that I have for this community.
Thank you. Lynn.
I would say my qualifications would be from a number of factors, but I've spent a number of years on boards. And in that situation, you're trying to liaise between the members and the company as a whole, which you'd be kind of doing here between the citizens and the town as a whole. So I think that experience for me would help a lot. As my colleague was saying, honesty, I'd like to think I'd bring that to the table, and the ability to listen to what people would want to tell me and be able to bring that to the table in decision making, I think would be another factor that would be in my favor.
Thank you. John.
Well, like I said, I've lived here for 35 years off and on and developed a deep love for this community in the first year we lived here, and spent a lot of time, as I said, volunteering mostly with hockey boards, but I have retired here, and now I have the time that I can spend and devote as much time as needed to council to help improve our town. There's a lot of things that need improvement, and I would like to think that I have the ability to help and give suggestions in that way with my management skills and some of the certificates that I have in my background that would help me to listen and bring these things to council and get them passed through. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Lisa.
I'm running for council because I believe in Nipawin's potential to be a safe, united, and thriving community. With 2 decades of experience in business development, marketing, and communications, and a deep respect for our town, I'm committed to making sure every resident's voice is heard and that decisions that are made reflect what matters most to us: honesty, as we've heard from almost everyone here tonight, integrity, and stable growth. My goal is to preserve what makes Nipawin special while building a bright future today and for generations to come.
Thank you. And Sheila.
Thank you. I believe my experience the last 2.5 years, my nursing experience working with the most vulnerable people in our community, has allowed me to understand why they are the people they are and why they are where they are at. When you work with them, you realize that they're not just a bunch of scumbags. They're like you and I. It's through horrific situations that they didn't always have a choice. People have said to me so many times, well, they had a choice. It's like, really? They had a choice when they were 3 years old, when they were sexually abused, or 5 years old. No, they didn't have a choice. And unfortunately, the people that are our most vulnerable people, they deserve better than what we are giving them at the moment as a community. And I believe that I can help. Am I done? Okay.
Thank you. So our next question.
Or me?
Oh, and Jeff.
I have qualifications.
I mean, everybody knows what you think already.
Oh, we all needed a laugh. That was good. Question, qualifications would make me a good candidate for council. Well, you can tackle this a number of different ways. Well, I'll lean on my experience, of course, as being here for 8 years and in municipal governance. I think that has some value. I run very complex health programs in cardiac and pulmonary rehab, and we're not talking 1 or 2 clients. We're talking about 80 or 90 clients. So it's about how to balance risk, how to balance things like that, which is very, very difficult, and having an amazing memory, which my wife will attest to, that I don't forget very much, right? But all in all, I'm going to leave by a quote from my late mother, right? She always said, the day you don't care, whether it be in health or anything you do, is the day you should quit. And I care. Simple as that. And I care, and that's why I want to be on council. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So my next question, we'll start with Stacy. Do you have a plan to create solutions around affordable housing?
Do I have a plan to create solutions around affordable housing? I believe the only help that the town of Nipawin could give for a plan for affordable housing is maybe to give incentives for developers or other people to build affordable housing. I don't think the town is in the position to get involved in actually physically building the homes, and that would be my stance. I don't have anything else to say on it.
Thank you. Kylie.
I am somebody who owns rental homes myself, and I pride myself on giving people affordable housing in this town. That being said, I'm unsure of what the right answer is for this, as it's a tough one with the rates right now. It's hard for people, first-time home buyers, to even buy anything. I've tried my hardest since I've lived in Nipawin since 2008 to buy homes, fix them up, and rent them for low amounts to hard-working people of the town. And it's not easy. I encourage more people to try and invest and do these same things, but do it the right way, which means investing your money properly into these homes and get, the hardworking class of Nipawin to try and, take care of them and such. But the proper solution, honestly, I don't know what the answer is until some of these rates start going down. It's tough for everybody.
Thank you. Les, your thoughts?
My plan for affordable housing is learning what's required out there. There's a lot of affordable housing. What is affordable housing? There's not much for housing available in Nipawin right now. I know there's some businesses out there that are trying to recruit staff. The staff is considered coming to Nipawin, but there wasn't a suitable place to rent. So that is a broad scope, but I'm going to do a bunch of research and see what's available as far as grants and government money, and see what's available. It's kind of a lame answer, but I don't know what I don't know just yet. But I'm going to work hard to find some type of a solution going forward so that we can alleviate this problem. Like I said, there's not many places available in Nipawin right now, so we got to figure out a way to make more.
Thank you. Lyndon.
One thing that I've found out in the last 15 or so years of life is that nothing is simple. And this would, I think, fall into that category. I would agree that I think what a person has to do, as you were saying, is to research some options. A possible option is that the town could possibly get into looking at building some low affordable housing on a rent-to-own basis, so that the people could live there cheap and pay off the house. I know that puts a little bit of burden on the taxpayer, but sometimes in the long run, it ends up being an effective solution for the town, because you get rid of some other problems, like people out in the street or tent cities or whatever, and some of these people just can't afford to get into housing with the cost. So some ideas, something has to be researched.
Thank you. John.
Personally, I don't have any plans for it because I'm not on council, so I don't know what is available to us through the government funding and what exactly the town can do. But I do know that I don't believe the town is in a position to start building places for people to live. That's something a developer or maybe government should do for them. I mean, I would love to see these people have a nice place to live and be comfortable, but I don't think our town is in a position to do that. Once I get on council, if you're good enough to vote me in, then we can look into it deeper, see what's available, and maybe the town can do something. But until we know what that is, like everybody else said, we have to wait and see. It's not a good answer, but that is the truth of it.
Thank you, John. And Lisa.
Yeah, I think the first step of my plan would be to educate myself on what the actual situation looks like. Like, how many affordable homes are required? Are we talking about, we need 10 affordable homes? Do we need 100? Do we need 1,000? Like, what exactly does our community and our residents, what do we need? And then I would start researching and learning and communicating with the people that obviously are more informed about this than I am, and look to other communities and other opportunities to see what's available to address the actual situation that we have here in Nipawin.
Thank you. Sheila.
Thank you. We do have a housing issue. When we moved here in 1991, we almost didn't come because we couldn't find a place for our family to live. So it's not a new concern. There's different types of housing required. There's housing for families, there's housing for people who are aging. So I think it depends. We definitely need different types of housing to keep our people here. And there are some amazing grants out there if you're referring to the people who are vulnerable. However, they provide a lot of money to build the buildings. However, there's nothing for sustainability. So that is a huge issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff.
Didn't get forgotten. Okay, create solutions around affordable housing, right? Tax incentives, like Stacy mentioned, for people to build, or as well as to move in other properties onto town. We've actually seen a lot of properties being moved into town, which creates more affordable housing. Our housing authority is very, very strong here. So there is partnerships there that are already in place that are very valuable, and their mandate is to house the hard to house, right, including seniors and families. Taxes, we can decrease the base rate of tax. Now, I can get bored and tell you guys about taxes, right? But a base rate of tax is what everybody pays, no matter the lot. If we actually lower that base rate, it actually helps out the lower income housing quite a bit. The houses on the lower end of the spectrum, which can give that area a little bit of a tax break. We used to have one of the highest tax brackets at $1,500. Now it's down to about $1,200. Go after federal funding, and sure, we have subdivisions in place for small homes. There you go.
Thank you. Tyler.
Yeah, that is a tough one. That's a tough question. In Western Financial, dealing with insurance, I have the unique perspective of seeing insurance policies increase every year, 6%. It's been horrendous. And seeing the replacement cost to build a new home, right, with brand new materials is absolutely concerning. I think this is something that I would say that I'd have to look into and get more educated about, obviously, but also leaning on those who have a bit more knowledge in this area and start the conversation.
Thank you, Tyler. So the next question, which we'll start with Kylie. How would you support the efforts in recruiting and retaining nurses, doctors, and other healthcare professionals to the community?
I guess it's hard to answer some of these because this isn't my level of expertise. In lots of these things, this is why the people elected up here, they don't have all the answers, but we have to be the people that are going to ask questions where they need to be asked and go to the direct people. I talk to people at right at the hospital. What are the issues that are making it so we can't get doctors here? What are some of the concerns that they have? Why do they leave so quickly? If we find out the reasons that they're not staying or the reasons that they're not coming, if we find the problem, we can try and find the solution. I personally don't know all of that right now, but it's something that I would research because that's who I am. If I have a question, I'm going to find the answer to it. But I don't have an honest answer that I can just come up with right now.
Thank you. Before you start there, Les, I just wanted to mention there really is no need to turn the mic off in between people. They're pretty unidirectional, so they're not going to pick up anything else. It's fine to leave them on, and then we're not flipping them on and off, and then it should be good. So thank you. Les, go ahead.
We got you. That's an issue that's been a serious or critical issue in Nipawin since we've came here, and probably prior to that. Why do we have a shortage of medical professionals? I think probably it's got a lot to do with the size of our community. It's certainly got nothing to do with what we can do in a community as far as fun things. But, you know, everybody unfortunately is gravitating to the bigger centers, the bigger wages and things like that. But if we can go out and sell Nipawin to some of these areas, now I don't know if there's trade shows or a venue that provides an opportunity to go out and pitch Nipawin to the medical community. I'll do some work or some research and find out if there's something. But I think if we can get out and sell Nipawin, sell the beautiful hospital that we have, all the fun that we can do in this community, I think that would go a long ways towards helping to alleviate the problem.
Lyndon.
Well, it's a tough one. My gosh, my mic was off. I think you used it last, didn't you, John? Sorry. It's another tough one because the town only has so much influence on the money that goes out to hospitals and such. But I think we can do a job in lobbying government. I know the provincial government has come up with a few ideas, the Sask Rural Incentive Program, the graduate retention program to help keep graduates from Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan. Plus, I think if you have somebody from Saskatchewan that's used to the area and gets a job, they're more apt to stay in that area than somebody coming from India or South Africa or whatever. As well, the government has a student loan forgiveness program, and I think all of those will help. We have regional colleges, Sask Polytech, U of S, U of R. Perhaps we can go and lobby those people to come to Nipawin to work.
Thank you. John.
Well, back in 1992, when we moved, actually when our first child was born here, we had a doctor by the name of Dr. Dutoit, who was an unbelievable doctor. And after 5 years of having him for our family doctor, he told me one day, I got bad news, I'm leaving. Where are you going? I'm going to New York. Why would you want to go to such a big center? Because I can work less hours and make 3 times as much money. He said, I am so overworked here that I am just burnt out. I can't spend any time with my family. So that's some of the reason why they're leaving. I think one way of maybe retaining doctors longer is instead of getting them to sign a 1 or a 2 year contract to get here, they need to sign a 10-year contract. And maybe they could really come to like our community and not leave.
Lisa.
So I would say that I'm not sure how much, it goes back to my opening comments about we need to have a community that our young people want to stay in and want to come back to, because I do believe that people that are from here, that have roots here and that have ties here, that have pride in this community, will want to come back and work here. I'm not sure there's much we can do about retaining doctors that are that don't have that connection to our community. So my philosophy would really be is to work hard with, and maybe that's with LP Miller, kids that want to go on to a career in the medical field, and see if there's a way that we can't align some sort of strategic plan that encourages them to, maybe that it's an incentive when they buy their home here. I'm not sure what that could look like, but I do think that people stay here when they want to be here, so we need to make people want to stay here.
Sheila.
Thank you. Nipawin has a very good reputation of treating students very well when they come to work at the hospital. That is $1 million question. When you look at the job postings in healthcare, the sky's the limit. There's so many options. I'm an old nurse. I graduated in the 80s. We tried to tell the government years ago that we were going to get into this position, because there was a lot of us that were baby boomers that basically went through nurses training. There used to be 200 that went through what used to be called Kelsey Institute, and then they diminished the numbers of people going into the nursing program. So obviously that was going to catch up eventually. I don't know what the answer is. I think that we need to pay for our own people's education, like people that are from this province or from Canada. We need to start investing in them and paying for their education, and so that they will pay us back and come to our communities.
Thank you. Jeff.
Okay, recruiting and retaining doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers. We still have the doctor's duplex that's in the town, right? So I think it's a good idea to keep something like that, because it allows them to have good housing, right? You don't want to move out here in March and not have a place to rent, because that's exactly what happened to me when I moved out here and had to find a place to rent as a healthcare worker. And one of the harder to recruit positions that when we first came out here, I can speak from my own experience, we didn't plan to stay more than 2 years, right? My wife will attest to that, right? We were like, we'll come out here, we'll gain some experience, and we'll head back to the city. I never want to go anywhere near the city now, right? I love this city, this town, right? And why that was is because I got reached out to. The Kinsman Club reached out to me. I got involved in the community, right? I started wanting to buy into this community and making this community my own, and that's why I stayed. And it's been 17 years now I've been running programming here. So I honestly believe it comes down to community pride and reaching out to these people and making them feel welcome in our town. That's why they're going to stay. That's why you have a home.
Wow, that's another tough question right on. Hey, there's no easy solutions with that. And unfortunately, we're not the only community that's dealing with this problem. We have doctors that are coming to the province and just leaving just as soon as they get here. I think that this is one of the situations that we have. We just had a provincial election. We need to maybe start being relentless to our MLA just a little bit and start asking them some tough questions, right? What their solution is for some of these issues. Otherwise, I think that we might have to start looking at and understand that I don't have a lot of knowledge in this area. I've just been a lot more of a patient than I've been on the other side, but I think we should maybe look at nurse practitioners and educating nurses as well to get them to make maybe that level as well, and maybe if there's incentives to maybe look at that.
Thank you. Stacy.
As Jeff mentioned, we have the doctor's duplexes. On a personal note, I know that years ago, Dr. Norton moved away because of being overworked, and that's largely what's happening. I also had a conversation with two doctors one day outside of Paramount, of all places, and the one was leaving because we didn't have the right number of arts and culture that his wife actually wanted, which that's where we have a tough time competing with the cities. We do have a grad retention program, which is really, really good. However, it's only going to be good, I believe, for 4 years. Then after that, the grads can decide whether they want to stay or go. Really tough question, really tough situation. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Stacey. Okay, the next question we're going to start with Les here. Do you have any ideas to promote tourism in Nipawin?
Oh boy. I think our biggest cheerleader, I've been talking about this for a while in the coffee shops and things. We lost our biggest cheerleader in Nipawin a few years ago, and it's kind of passionate or close to my heart. But anyway, we need somebody that can take the bull by the horns like Doug did and promote tourism. I don't think there's anybody out there that can promote tourism better than he did, and that's sadly it's missing in this community. I see it often, and that's something that I'm actually passionate about is tourism to Nipawin. And like I said before, we need to get out and sell Nipawin, not only for medical personnel, but for just the fishing industry, jobs. We need to get out and pitch Nipawin to the world, not just White Fox or Choiceland, but we need to get out to the far reaches and sell Nipawin.
Well, I look at the hat next to me, I see the riders, and one of the comments I hear from them is that a lot of people can't go to rider games because they're having more trouble affording it. So advertising just in the local area, I think, limits the amount of tourism that you can have. I think we have to go to a little wider area, as you mentioned, maybe get down into the Dakotas and even farther abreast with advertising. I also think around here we need, because what I've heard is that there seems to be a shortage of really good hotel space here. If somebody wanted to hold a conference or something, we're sort of limited what we can do. Conferences would bring people into town, and when they see what might be available here as far as recreation and such, they might want to come back. So I think having an option of getting a larger hotel facility here would be a plus.
That definitely would be a bonus, but we could go back to a few years ago when the town got together with people like Ray Lamy, and when he went to Edmonton and down into the States to these trade shows and advertised for his fishing up here, he also advertised for the town of Nipawin and promoted it very strongly. And it was at a minimal cost to the town, but it really brought a lot of people in here. It brought a lot more Americans in for our fishing tournaments and just in general for fishing through the summer. It really, really helped the town promote our tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Lisa.
I think it's a good opportunity to tip my hat to Tourism Nipawin. I think I noticed this past year way more promotion on social media, way more engaged exposure online. I mean, it comes down to marketing and promoting our town and then making sure that we can support the tourism. So, you hear about the fishing tournaments. The fishing tournaments are great as long as we have fish for the fishermen to catch. Bringing hunters from the U.S. to come up and hunt. Here, we need to make sure that we have deer for them and that. So I think there's a part of that is to, liaise with conservation to make sure that that those opportunities remain sustainably. And then we do need to have fair accommodations for these folks when they do come to town.
Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. I think we need to spread our wings a little further than we have in the last few years. I've had the privilege to meet about 50 bird hunters in the last 2 months, all Americans from all over the States. And they are shocked at how beautiful our community is. There wasn't one of them that didn't compliment me on the community, what the stores had to offer, and so I do believe we need to spread our wings and advertise how awesome we really are.
Promote tourism. Well, lots of things have been said. Development, I agree with the whole idea of hotel and greater development, partnerships so we can be more efficient with taxpayers' dollars. If people are already going out to North Dakota and promoting their product, we can definitely try to be with them. I love that idea. Social media presence you mentioned, also excellent, right? Just in general, selling Nipawin in a positive light, even including us on social media, no matter which community outreach, which thing you're on social media, whenever you're talking about Nipawin, try to sell it in a positive light. We've ran into places where we were trying to hire into the town of Nipawin, for example, and people would go on to certain sites, see lots of the negative, and then not come here. So how we talk about our community matters as well. So just to add that in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Kyle.
Well, this makes it tough when you're at the bottom of the back of the line there and you're trying to answer the question that's been answered beautifully many times from many members. At the Merrill Forum, it was mentioned a few times, trade show. I kind of walked out of the building with that in my head. That's just one way of promoting tourism in this town, but it's not. It's so many different factors in it. It's not just one alley. It's so many different ways to go about it and approach it. But yeah, I agree with what Jeff said and what Sheila said, and Brian mentioned on Monday, and yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Stacy, any thoughts?
I believe working together, like John had mentioned about Ray Lamy. I happened to get to the snow show in Saskatoon on the weekend, and the town of Nipawin did have a booth there. And it was very well done, and there was lots of participation. And actually, they worked together with the Trailblazers, which was nice to see, and I think that we need to do that a lot more. Is to get involved with the groups, and whatever group it is, be it fishing, be it snowmobiling, whatever, we can promote our town because it is beautiful. And I just think that, yes, we do have to go further out. We can go into Alberta and we can go into Manitoba as well, or Ontario. just promote everything positively, because we have a lot to promote that is positive.
Thank you, Stacey. Kylie.
I have to agree with most of the stuff that was said here, especially about getting out and trying to promote the town, but also social media is big nowadays. I have young children, and they go on YouTube, you Google something, you want to be able to see these things, and that is the new way of the world. Unfortunately, that's kind of where it's at. It's less hands-on, and it's a lot more social media. So I think we could really up our game with some of the Nipawin's website, putting a lot more out there. When you Google Nipawin, there should be a lot that you can see, promoting the businesses, promoting tourism. And I salute the girls that worked at the tourism this year. They had some amazing videos. There was a lot of education in what Nipawin has to offer, also a lot of humor in it. I think they did a really good job this year, and I'd like to see that continuing and thriving that way.
Thank you, Kylie. Okay, so we've just about reached the halfway point of our program tonight. So I'd like to take a quick coffee break here. We'll be back in approximately 15 minutes. Mingle amongst yourselves, talk, think up some questions. I'd love to see some questions come from the floor. It's a lot more organic, it's more interesting, and a lot more engaging for those at home. So grab a coffee, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to quickly mention that, and I forgot to mention before, that if anybody needs to use the washroom, you just head straight through the back there, up the stairs, and you'll find the washrooms there, or there's one right near the front door. Once again, I want to just do some thank yous. Once again, to the Chamber of Commerce for organizing the event, to the Apostolic Church for hosting the event and doing all the audiovisual setup, to Norm and CJNE for broadcasting on the radio. I want to thank all the candidates. I want to thank everybody for attending. The event is much better when we have an audience. And of course, to all of our volunteers. So I would like to get right back into things. Our next question is going to go to Lyndon first. And that question is, do you have any ideas how to attract new business to the community?
Well, again, I go back to nothing is totally simple. I think there's some things that the town is doing now that they're being preemptive in providing infrastructure to business so that if a business wants to come here, some of the infrastructure is set up so they can make the decision. They don't have to wait for a year for things to happen. I think one of the things that we need to do is poll some of the citizens around and see what we actually need here, and we can send that out on the internet, through the internet, see what businesses need, and also do some shows so that we can show potential new partners what we're looking for in the form of business. There's many more things, but a minute sort of limits it. I think also we can do something in the large business area. There's a few things that are happening: nuclear, hydrogen, research areas, and I think we can explore that with the provincial government.
Thank you. Yes, do you have any ideas how to attract new business to the community?
That's a really good question. Like Lyndon said, I think what the town is doing right now is excellent. If you're not prepared, the people can't come. The businesses, the industry can't come. And I think as a council with our mayor, we need to get out and contact these people that may bring a business or an industry to town so that we can tell them what we have and they don't have to guess or wait around.
Thank you. Lisa.
When I was working in Calgary for an ag tech company, I was at an event and I was talking to the members of the Sask government, and there was incentives at that time, which was only a few years ago, to incentivize companies to move from other provinces to Saskatchewan. So I think we need to, I'm not sure if that program is still going, but I think we just need to make sure that we're part of those conversations and that everybody knows that Nipawin's open for business, that we're welcoming community, and that we're taking strides to put in infrastructure for businesses. But again, I go back to, I think it's important that we encourage our young people to come home and say, Nipawin is a great place to start your business. I now work for North Fringe, and we get asked a lot because we do work all over Canada and internationally. We get asked, why is this business here headquartered in Nipawin? And the reason is, one, it's because it's Brett's home. Two, it's because of the affordability. When he was starting his business and when he was in his early 20s, it was affordable to do it here. So I think that's important. And also, we're surrounded by wonderful people that can work with these businesses.
Thank you. Sheila.
I agree with everything that has been said. Before new business, it's challenging because we need housing first. And so in order to attract business, new business, we need to look at that as well prior to attracting new business. I had the opportunity to talk to a contractor from Warman, and I was schmoozing him, to to see if he would consider building some affordable housing here. And he said, honestly, he said, I am just so busy right now, I just can't even look out to the rural areas because I'm so busy where I'm at. So hopefully, the next 4 years, we will see that they can catch up to what they're building in the cities, and they can reach out to our smaller communities and make us attractive. Or more attractive, I should say.
All right. Attract new business to the community. There's the $1 million question, right? Everybody wants economic development. We mentioned develop land with infrastructure, so then we have that infrastructure available, so when that business is ready to come, be it a hotel or a brewery or whatever, right, or little microbreweries. We have the best water, by the way, in the province, right? Those kind of things are what I would look towards, right? But also, in the boring side of things, I'm going to talk about taxes again, commercial tax policies, and how those things are related and how those are fair and how we can even out so we can want more investments, and then the incentives that we can have for new businesses to come to town, right? Sell Nipawin as the hub of the Northeast. Yes, we're 4,500 people, but this area serves around 15,000 or more people. So that is another thing. So when we go to the businesses, it's not about 4,500 people, it's about 1,500. And you're going to stop me here. Family-friendly community, that kind of stuff. That's why people want to live here. So, okay, thanks.
Thank you. Tyler.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with what everyone has said. I think the town of, getting ready for development is a great idea. However, with that kind of investment that's been happening, if I was an accountant, I would be a little bit nervous, mind you. And that puts the onus on us as, whoever gets voted into council, is that they're going to have to get to work and start looking at businesses and start attracting businesses in, right? Because we do have some bills to pay.
Thank you. Stacey, your thoughts?
As has been said previous, we are putting in infrastructure to get ready for any business that is going to come to town, make it a little more attractive, because if we don't have the infrastructure put in place, they're not going to wait around a year. They'll find somewhere else to go. Tax incentives, yes, that's another way to encourage businesses to come to Nipawin. I'd like to think that we could maybe build on the businesses that are here already with maybe some value-added programs or products. That's kind of my thought. So, and we have to promote that Nipawin is a great place.
Well, almost the last one. I agree with what almost everybody here has said, especially Stacey, that, with current council trying to get some infrastructure in right now to help for any businesses that want to come, so there's not a time lapse. It can happen a little bit quicker. And once again, just getting out there, trying to figure out what this town needs, trying to promote it. Those are all going to be huge, huge things that we need to do to try and get more businesses to want to come here.
Les.
I think that since we've turned the corner from our previous administration, I feel that Nipawin's about to embark on a grand adventure. Infrastructure is a huge thing. We can't bring anybody in because we have no infrastructure commercially, manufacturing-wise, or things like that. So I think Nipawin is about to turn the corner and go down that road with great success. The other problem we need to address is the corridor to Manitoba. I think if we can work hard and open that up a little bit more to get more traffic from the PAW and from that Manitoba area, there's traffic, it's going to be closer to come to Saskatoon than it is to go to Winnipeg. So I think that would definitely help Nipawin. But again, sell. Who we got to get out and tell everybody who we are, where we are, and although we're at the end of the road, it's not a dead end road. We've got lots to go yet.
Okay, my next question is going to start with John here. What would you like to see for the development of recreational services in Nipawin?
I honestly don't know. We have hockey, we have hunting, we have fishing, we have snowmobiling, cross-country skiing. I don't know what else you would want to bring in here. It's we have pretty much everything that you could ask for. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that we're a paradise here in a lot of ways with a lot of different activities. And when I first moved here, I took advantage of all of the free equipment that you can go and rent out at the Evergreen. I think that's a fantastic opportunity to get out snowshoeing and do different recreational activities for free right here at home. I also heard a really great idea on Monday night of a zip line by the old bridge across the river. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for different opportunities and things. I think we need to be creative, and I thought that was a great idea.
Sheila.
I agree with what everybody has said. I also believe that we lack in options for people in the wintertime to get out and about, especially people with children. If they're not hockey players, then it limits what is available here for them. You might not like the comment that I have to say, but we certainly are going to open it up to the community about our Evergreen Center and what we see as value add recreational wise there. The curling ice or the structure is getting older, and what can we do with that size of a building to make it more valuable on a daily basis rather than a few weeks in the wintertime. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I think we just need to look at that and get your the community perspective on what you think is a great idea.
Sure. Jeff.
All right, rec services. I love rec services. Increasing the usage of our Evergreen Center. It's a great facility. It's now under the Parks and Rec banner. It is well utilized for walking and different programming like that, but there is, I believe, a lot of potential there to do even more, right? Because it is such a facility that's already here that we don't have to build, that's already new. Well, it's not new. We have the facility is becoming grant ready, so hopefully we can get ourselves a nice good grant, and then we could be able to give that place a really good facelift and be able to really sell that to the community as being a big boon. And for the summertime, we are planning on building that multiple sport court in Central Park. We're moving the ball diamonds up towards over by the water treatment plant, because that will put all the ball diamonds together, and that's what the ball wanted, right? And then we'll be able to put a multiple sport court down there that's going to allow for a lot more recreation. And one thing about the zip line, yes, go across the river, but don't end in the lagoon, right? So please, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you say the question one more time, please?
What would you like to see for the development of recreational services in Nipawin?
Well, I'm in agreement with, like I said, like a lot of the people who spoke before me. However, I think also that we need to start maybe talking, reaching out to the schools as well. There's a lot of kids out there who just can't afford to be involved in recreational activities, and that's one of the things that's my concern as a parent. And I just know so many people that just can't afford certain things and stuff like that. So I think that part of the town should maybe look into is that, letting kids and depending how you want to set it up, but just having kids, having days where people can show them cross-country skiing or different events and stuff like that at hopefully at little or no cost at all.
Stacy.
Well, Jeff's probably mentioned everything that I was going to about the multi-sport court and how we are in the process of hopefully getting a large grant for our Evergreen Center, and it would give it a huge facelift, and actually all the internals would be brought up to date as well. I believe that we do have quite a few different things that we can access in the winter, like the fat-tired bikes and cross-country skis and such. And I will agree with Tyler, maybe they need some instruction. However, we can only get stretched so far. So I'm not sure there's a lot of people who would like to have seen an enclosed swimming pool, but we can't fund that. Thank you.
Like Jeff and Stacy said, the multi-sport court that's going in at Central Park I think is great. Pickleball is becoming really big, and it's for the people that are in between wanting to play tennis and badminton that are getting older like me. So that's fabulous. But I also agree that I think our recreation here is actually really good. But that being said, we're only 1, 7, 12 brains up here. This takes a community to think about these things. So even though I might not think of anything else, there could be 20 other people sitting out there that have fabulous ideas. That's why it takes a whole town to thrive. And that's why I encourage members of the community to attend council meetings, give us ideas, because that's how we're going to grow, is all of us working together, not just the 6 people elected and the mayor.
Were you reading my notes? Just took the thoughts right out of my mind. But yeah, we have lots going on here, lots of things to do, and we don't know what you might want. So I'll put it back to the community. Like I said in the opening, I'll listen. So we'll put it back to the community. Like, what would you like to see come to Nipawin? And I'll do everything I can to help facilitate that. But yeah, we're in pretty good shape. I've just heard, or just recently, I don't know where I've been, my head in the sand or something, about the multi-use courts and the ball diamonds. That's awesome. That's going to bring traffic up to our end of town, and it's just going to be a huge thing for the families to get out and recreate. And I'm one of the most recreational type people going out there, but as you can tell. But yeah, we'll listen. You tell us what you want, and we'll do the work. We'll do the footwork and see if we can accommodate.
Lyndon.
Well, I think there's been some good comments. One thing I'd like to add is some company, local store that could sell a fish hook that caught bigger walleye. One thing that we run into, both my wife and I kind of like cross-country skiing. She's in a situation where she needs ski boots, and we don't have any ability to buy any locally, so we have to go out of town to do that. So there's a few things perhaps we can get some of the local businesses, or get a local business here that would help support some of the equipment required by the people who are doing recreation around here. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things to add, but in a minute you can't do much.
Thank you. So initially, I had thought, because we spent so much time during the mayoral forum on crime, that we wouldn't spend too much time on it tonight. But I'm going to ask one question and one question alone, just for your quick thoughts. I had quite a few questions come in from the public about it. So one individual says, some people are scared just to live in the existing housing authority apartments. Other people have talked about the homeless situation in town and the lack of accommodation. Lisa, do you have any thoughts on homelessness, crime? Just very quickly. I know you don't have a lot of time to speak about it. It's a really difficult subject, but just a quick thought.
I don't necessarily believe that homelessness and crime go hand in hand. I think there are two separate issues, but I think it's important that we all all have a responsibility to protect our belongings. We all have a responsibility to report what we see. I think that a lot of people report on social media instead of reporting to the police. And so I think, as a community, we need to, this isn't a town council mayor issue. This is a Nipawin. As a community, we need to come together. We need to report anything that we see that's suspicious. And I believe in encouraging and supporting Citizens on Patrol group. We do what we can with the local law enforcement. And there was a great idea about in more street lighting, brighter street lights. I think all of those little things will add up in the long run. So.
Can you repeat the question, please?
So I had mentioned the anecdote on the people were worried about, the safety in general. And do you have any thoughts on improving the crime situation in Nipawin?
Oh boy, that's a loaded one for a minute. My thoughts are that many people are vulnerable out there. A lot of them don't have access to money because they don't have any ID. So I think we have to do a better job of supporting them, and that can come in many different ways. I feel sorry for the RCMP because they are oftentimes blamed for what's happening in our communities, and I really believe that some of our problems stem back to mental health, addiction, and healthcare needs to provide supports to those people, not just 9 to 5, but after hours, so that we can help get them on the right track when they're ready and if they want help.
Thank you.
Okay, not going to waste a second here. Tear down derelict houses, checking up on boarded up houses to ensure that they stay that way. That's good for safety. Work with the RCMP as a partner, improve relationships, allow us to support them in some things like communication. The promotion is a great idea, was mentioned over there. I like light it up, lock it up, or see something, say something. Improved lighting was said. Justice. As for homelessness, difficult topic. Partnerships, like be at the table with the Oasis, the Salvation Army, the RCMP, healthcare. These are organizations that can help with this situation and have a mandate to help with this situation, and the town can be a great partner to them. I think I'm almost out of time. 1 minute's not long enough. Here we go. Thank you. Bye.
Tyler.
When I was a kid growing up, when I would commit a crime on one side of town, within 10 minutes, my parents knew about it by the time I got home. And that's something to be said. The only way for that could happen, and I know it's Carrot River, and I know it's a small town, I know it's a different place, I get it. But people cared about each other, and they made it a point to know each other. Now, I'm going to say I'm guilty on this part. I don't know many of my neighbors down the street. But the ones that I do know, we all have to share the same concerns. And if we don't start caring about ourselves and one another, this is going to be the same problem that we're going to have. I believe fundamentally that for us to combat crime in this community is we need to start caring now.
Stacy.
As for crime, we'd continue to work with the RCMP, Citizens on Patrol, encourage, this is the big one, what I've been told by numerous police officers, if you see something, phone them, because if there's 6,000 phone calls and 6,000 people, nothing happens. If there's 6,000 people made 10,000 phone calls, things will change. And I can't agree more with everyone has to take this on themselves. It just can't be the police. Everyone as a whole in Nipawin has to make it an effort to do something about it. Homeless, all of these are more than a minute long. Homelessness, I'd like to find out how they got there and how we could help them to rehabilitate, I guess. It's too short a time for us to elaborate.
Thank you. Kylie.
In regards to crime, I think it's a concern for every single person in Nipawin in one way or another. I think that like a neighborhood watch, essentially get to know your neighbors. Keep an eye out for each other. Being a presence is important. And like Stacy said, make calls. Putting it on social media is okay to let our community know what's going on, but the RCMP are not checking people's Facebook page. They're not checking the Nipawin Crime Watch Facebook page. We are as a community, but they're not. So we have to make those phone calls. And as he said, we have to call, we have to be diligent. If all of a sudden their numbers at their main office are skyrocketed from 2024 to 2025, they're going to start looking at where to start putting more of their officers. And that's what obviously we need. They also look at the time frames these calls come in. Are they all coming in between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m.? Or are they coming in 2 p.m., 6 p.m.? In regards to the homelessness, same thing. I'm not an expertise in this area, so just like I talked to the RCMP and that's what they told me to do, I talked to the Oasis. We need to talk to the people that know the situations at hand in the town.
Thank you. Les.
Yeah, it's been covered quite well. Report. We've been preached that for I don't know how long. I remember going to a meeting, a town hall where the police were present, and that was what they said years ago, report. If they don't know anything, if they don't know what's going on, they figure everything's cool. So report. They have staff that'll answer the phone. You're not taking the member off the street to answer the phone. They have people that will answer that phone and take your concerns. So report. Also, Citizens on Patrol, a fantastic program. I was involved in it before. I see some fellows here that we went out on ride-alongs together in the evenings, and you're going to say, well, why would you be out riding around when the police aren't out doing their job? I said, well, there's going to be somebody out there. There's going to be a constable out there when you're doing your patrols. But the thing that I saw back then was if the little creeps knew that you were out there, they're going to maybe not be out there, because if they know they're being watched, it was an awesome deterrent I found back then. I got away from it because I got busy and things like that, but I'm willing to get back into it. But report.
Lyndon.
Well, thank you for allowing 1 minute to answer this question. Yeah, there's a lot of comments, which many of them are good. I heard at the Mayor's Forum about a business license for renters that would allow for inspections. I think looking in that direction would help or provide the opportunity to check to see who's possibly living in these areas and check up on potential drugs. I think lobbying the government a bit. Right now, I seem to be seeing a lot of the catch and release thing, and it's got to be very frustrating for police to be arresting somebody and then next day or 2 days later, that person's on the street again. I think we have to lobby the government to be a little tougher with the courts and find a way to deal with these people. And once they're arrested a couple times, keep them off the street for a while. Perhaps use restorative justice or whatever. It's going to take a lot of discussion to come up with that.
John.
I'll go back to what Kylie was talking about, is get to know your neighbor, have a neighborhood watch so you can look out for your neighbors and make sure everything is looked after. I know in our block there's cameras there that cover the whole block. And if we're away from home, when I get home, I get a phone call from one of the people that has cameras and say, hey, there was a guy in your driveway up close to the garage. If anything's gone wrong there, come and see us. We got pictures. You can give them to the RCMP. Well, that's absolutely awesome. I have no trouble where I live. Zero. We're very, very fortunate. I know that's not the same all over town, because I have friends on a different part of town that have had a lot of trouble, like guys trying to kick in their door when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and scaring the crap out of them. But it's something that has to be worked on, it'll probably never end. Crime is something that's been here for hundreds of years, so we just have to keep working on it.
Thank you, John. Okay, so our next question here, it came from the audience. We were talking lots about how to bring new businesses and people to town. But what incentives would you offer to the businesses that are already here? Sheila.
I did some thinking about that today, and my goal has always been to support the businesses that are already here. I think it's very important that if we don't support local businesses, that they won't be here. And so whether that's through some tax incentives, I'm not sure, but I believe that growing bigger is not always better when it comes to business.
Thank you.
Small business is the heart of your business community, and we have so many great small businesses in town. People come to Nipawin for the small businesses more than anything, so the more we can protect these businesses, the better, right? Lots of different things. Just to think, there is a grant available throughout the town that if you do some upgrades to your thing, you can actually get some tax relief from the differences in your... I'd have to get Jeff Herenque up here to explain it all, right? But there are some grants available for that, so that's quite nice. And then we just got to be the big cheerleaders on the council. Just promote your people, and then get out there and just simply support, right? We want them to stay. We want them to be here so we have access to all these great things and services. So it's simply be the cheerleader. That's the best thing anybody can do.
I think the times we live in, it's not just tough for the consumer, but as a business owner as well. We see it. You can tell when you have the conversations with people. You just, when you walk in, you see the prices increase. It's not sometimes it's not because of greed. It's just because their costs went up too. I think the onus is on us at times that we do need to support our local businesses a lot more than what we have. There's been big giant companies that make it a lot appealing, a lot easier to shop, and just based on convenience. You don't even have to leave the home. You can just order something online and it's there at your door, right? And I just think that's something that definitely we should think about and consider. And I'm also in agreement with Jeff too, and things that he had to say. So,
thank you, Stacey.
Local is actually my platform, period. When I first ran, I wanted everyone to support local businesses because local business is a heart. I don't know if there's any towns or cities that survive without business. The local businesses, generally, if you have a group, a baseball tournament going on or a hockey tournament, they usually come and see you about if you can donate something for their hockey tournament and such. However, we just need to support local business. And if we support them properly, then possibly they can grow as well. There is always been talk about a downtown revitalization program, but that costs a lot of dollars. So that would be an incentive for the business owners present. I guess I'm out of time. Sorry.
In regards to incentives, I don't really have an honest answer for that right now. But just in general, when I think of businesses growing and thriving, it has to do with promoting the town of Nipawin. the more that we promote it, the more tourism we get in, the better the businesses thrive. The more people we try and get into this town, into this community, the better businesses thrive. So I think they go hand in hand in regards to promote or incentives. I don't know the answer to that, but I think it just comes down to continuing to support local, continuing to promote and try and make our town grow and our small businesses thrive.
Yes, indeed. Support your local business. It shouldn't be an incentive. It should be just a natural thing. You go out and support the people that support you. We're all businessmen. Most of us are businessmen in this town, so we support each other. That's the incentive that I see. Just visually, I'm going past the police station. I'm looking downtown, and we got a pretty awesome main street. I think it's the widest main street in Nipawin. Is that an incentive? No, but it allows people to go downtown and shop because there's going to be a parking spot. So it's not really an incentive, but I think the incentive is to shop local, and in the long run, that's going to help you out. If that makes any sense.
Thank you.
Well, a few ideas. Of course, there's been a lot that's been portrayed so far. If I can add a few. One thing, if you shop local, you often get more personal service. So you find that it's a lot easier to deal with the people than dealing with things online. That's what I've found. Perhaps if we had more offerings that were here, so if people driving through, they want to get a basket full of items, if they can only get 3 in Nipawin, they might continue to go on to PA. If we had a few more businesses where they could fill that whole basket, they'd have a better reason to stop here. We heard in the Mayor Forum perhaps looking at even getting into city status. One thing that's happening rurally, we're losing population, so that used to be part of the consumers downtown. A lot of that's disappearing. We can replace that if we get a little more population, have more people here to buy those products locally.
Thank you.
I guess when you talk incentives, the first thing a lot of people think about is money. How can I save money to keep my business running? How can we give tax breaks or whatever to entice new business into town? We've been quite fortunate, I think, in Nipawin with the businesses that we have. Like our home hardware has been here for many, many years and has continued to expand. Harold's opened up a little higher end clothing store, which is really nice to have in our town. And there's a lot of other small businesses that are doing quite well as long as we continue to support them. And we have to do that. I mean, there are some things that unfortunately we just can't get here because we don't have them other businesses, and we have to figure out a way to attract them and get them into town.
Thank you, John. Lisa.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have much more to add other than I would be interested in connecting with the Chamber of Commerce, for example, to hear what if there's a common thread amongst the business community of what they would like to see. I also think that, opportunities that pull people downtown to our town square downtown, the street fair that happens every year, I mean, that's a wonderful event. It pulls people to the community, and it's an opportunity for our businesses to showcase our retail businesses that are down there to showcase what they do have to offer to the town. There's all sorts of businesses in this town, so I don't think there's one answer that kind of speaks to the business community, but it's definitely an interesting conversation.
Thank you. So my next question, we'll start with Sheila. First Nations people are a big part of our community. How would you work? Oh, sorry, actually, Jeff. I think Jeff would start this one. My apologies. Once again, First Nations people are a big part of our community. How would you work to develop relationships with our Indigenous neighbors, both within our community and at nearby reserves?
Oh, how do you work to develop a relationship? It starts simply with trust and respect. That's really what it comes down to. Any relationship is inviting someone or a group of people to the table and then starting with trust and starting with respect. And that's it. We've had multiple conversations with our First Nations and our First Nation neighbors, right? And I think that they have been productive. I think that there is a really big opportunity there for growth. We know that Nipawin thrives, its business community thrives a lot because of our First Nation neighbors to the east, and that is a lot of the population that comes into town and does a lot of their business in town because they see Nipawin as their hub, right? So it's just being that welcoming, open environment that's going to be, yes, we're here, yes, we're willing to talk, yes, we're willing to do business, and yes, we care about our shared history. Thank you.
Thank you. Tyler.
Very good question. I agree with Jeff. We got to start treating people with a little bit of dignity and respect. Not to indict anyone out here. I'm speaking for myself personally. Building relationships, for starters, is a big deal. Talking to people, getting to know them, right? Whether you just strike up a conversation in a grocery store or at the bank or anything like that, just being friendly. I know some really nice people, really kind people, and they're deserving of it. Other than that, I think that, as a town, we do depend on, and a lot of our small businesses do depend on the business from the reserves and stuff. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Stacey.
There's no question that we get a lot of business from the neighboring communities, reserves. I believe that, yes, we do have to be welcoming. There's no doubt. It's pretty simple, welcoming and kindness. It's two simple things. Be polite, respect. I don't know how to build, like we actually had talks with the Cumberland House, Village of Cumberland House earlier this year, and building relationships with them. And I believe that we will probably be having more conversation with them, Red Earth and Shoal Lake. There's no question that they do bring a lot of money into the community and support our local businesses lots. Without them, we'd be in trouble.
Thank you. Kylie.
I think collaborating with the leaders from the reserves and having lots of communication, open communication on both ends is going to help a lot. Myself, the business that I started and am still in the dental industry, I would say 70% of my patients are from the reserves. I deal with them on a regular basis, and I think that a lot of business owners in Nipawin could say the same, that they are a huge part of the thriving of our businesses and small businesses within the town. So having those communications with the leaders of the reserves and being able to communicate well, respectfully, back and forth, I think will go a long way.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, very important. I would commit to carrying on what the previous administration has already started. They say there's been talks and discussions and stuff. So I think that's very important, and I would even throw my name out there if I gain your confidence in this election, that I would be one of those participants in meetings and to facilitate a better relationship, if I could say that. For sure, they're important. They're the reason for our existence here, really. But I think I would just continue on with the dialogue that's already been started and hopefully expand on that. But like I say, in front of everybody, I would throw my name in the hat if we needed somebody to go out and be a part of that.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think I have anything really extra to add. I think they've all been good points, and we can continue on that direction. We seem to be going that direction to improve relationship with them and just carry on, I would say.
Thank you. John.
Well, I know personally that the business that comes from Cumberland House, Red Earth, Shoal Lake, into my daughter-in-law's store is absolutely fantastic. They support her store to no end. And when you go to the grocery stores and there's people with 2 and 3 carts of groceries going out of that store, that's a lot of money. And all these people come here on a regular basis and support our town. I mean, it's like any group of people, there's some bad ones, some good ones, but you can't paint them all with the same brush. And there is an awful lot of good ones out there. And as long as we treat them accordingly, they're going to continue to support our town.
Thank you.
There's a common thread up here tonight that truth and reconciliation needs to be really at the core of every conversation through town, supporting different events that honor and recognize truth and reconciliation. There's now Brenda, who's not here tonight, but she's president of the Métis group right here in town. So I think more engagement, more understanding, and of course, making sure that that Nipawin is a community that serves a variety of residents and neighboring communities, and I think that we need to make sure that we always remember that.
Everything that has been said, I respect, and thank you for that. And living in a community like Cumberland House for 10 years, that became my second home. I have many, many friends from Cumberland. Their senses of humor are amazing, and I know it means a lot to them when we go to their communities. And we've invited them to ours. I think it's time for us to go and be at their table.
So I'm afraid we've reached the end of the question period of our event tonight. So we're going to proceed with the closing remarks. Everybody's going to have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. I'm quickly going to just finish off what Brenda Beliveau had started in her opening remarks, and then she's just got a short little bit in for closing. So to continue, she says, my work experience has allowed me knowledge and education that cannot always be taught in school. I have worked with Saskatchewan Health Authority and worked part-time for the Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Social Services as an office assistant. These jobs helped me to understand how they operate and gave me a view of our community from a different perspective. I also worked for Nipawin Kids First, which provided me first-hand knowledge about areas in our community that need support and the importance of working with all individuals and families. In closing, I'm aware this position can be time-consuming and there is a lot to learn about legislation, bylaws, and the different acts that are involved in proper procedure. I'm willing to dedicate my time to learning and working with the team to have positive outcomes. And then she says, in closing, I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this forum and to the Apostolic Church for the facilities, also all the volunteers that make this possible. One of the most important factors when seeking a term for council, I feel, is the willingness to work as a team member and knowing there are boundaries and legislation that must be followed. Being part of a team means being able to actively listen and share your input in a respectful and diplomatic manner. Some conversations are going to be difficult, and there is a saying I like to live by. It says you won't learn if you already think you know everything. We can all learn. If elected, I will work hard to represent the public and consider the well-being and interests of our municipality. I will support the diversity in our community and help to create economic, environmental, and cultural visibility for present and future generations. I'm grateful for the opportunity and to all who support me on this endeavor. Thank you. So then beginning, closing, just to continue with our cycle, Tyler will begin.
Well, it's been quite the evening. I'd just like to thank all the other candidates for being here and just, having the courage to speak up out here. Tell me right now, my hands are so sweaty. I apologize to Jeff. Hey, listen, I think the biggest theme that you've picked up for me, and I hope you have, is that I care. I really do. I'm sold out for this community. This is a place I want to grow old and hopefully die here. And to be honest, I think the thing that's missing really in this community is that we just need to start caring for one another. We got to get to know each other. We need to have some hard conversations sometimes. I also think to do with the crime and the homelessness in this, for the crime part, we got to use their community resources that we do have, the COPP. We have a population of over 4,000 people, and there's only, a dozen members? That doesn't sound so hot. Another thing with the homelessness, something I've been thinking about is that, we just have to have that conversation. We have to have it now. This is something that can't wait. We can't defer our problems just to a later date just because we're uncomfortable. Hey, listen, if you guys vote for me and you vote for me in, any of my hopes, dreams, or aspirations, they go on the back burner. My job and duty will be serving you as a community, not for my selfish intentions and not for others, but for everyone. I would like to thank the Chamber for setting this up and the Apostolic Church for having this here. November 13th, you guys have a choice and decision to make, and it's not going to be an easy one. And I just like to thank the opportunity for me being up here and just being able to talk to you. And thank you.
Thank you. Stacy.
In closing, I would like to say that I'm fully committed in council, and that, as I said before, I will always work with honesty and integrity, not for one, not for a group, but for the whole of Nipawin. I'm not really sure what else to say other than, if nothing else, I want everyone in Nipawin to go out and vote. That's so important because the numbers don't reflect the number of people in this town. So go out and vote. Thank you.
Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody for participating in tonight's council forum. Additionally, I'd like to applaud all candidates for their dedication to our community. If elected for council, I commit to always staying true to my principles and my core values, and safeguard the trust of Nipawin's residents, always prioritizing the welfare and future prospects in every decision that I make. Transparency in the town's best interests will be the guiding principles for every decision that I make, serving as a voice for our community. I wish everybody the best, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yes.
I had this thing prepared for the closing, and I've never done anything like this before. This is the first time out in a political arena, I guess, for the lack of a better term. And all the stuff that I wrote was all fancy and nice, but I think it's better coming from the heart. We have a beautiful community. I've said this before. I spent 35 years in the truck, traveled around North America, or not North America, but the United States, pretty much seen all the states. And my favorite site is when you come around the curve at White Fox and you go down and you top the river valley. And you look down in there, and if it's the fall of the year, it's just gorgeous in there. I don't know where else in the world that you would see anything like that. So we have a beautiful community, and you come around it past Maureen and Les and Tom, and And Jack, you're coming into town and you see the big sign there, welcome to Nipawin, with all the businesses on there. I was going to count them there, but I was driving too fast. Come up to the new police station and you look down Main Street, and most recently there's a bunch of banners. I'm going to lose it here. There's a bunch of banners on them street posts down there. And folks, that's where we came from. And let's continue on. Let's get Nipawin back to where it was. And yeah, we have a beautiful spot, and let's enjoy it. Morale has been down. We've had some crappy stuff going on in our community, but let's kick it in the butt and let's win. Get out and vote on the 13th of November. That's important. I don't see there's going to be any snow coming, so we should all be able to get there. There shouldn't be any excuses. So please, folks, November 13th at your respective polling locations, please come out and mark your X. Thanks.
Thank you, Les. Lyndon.
Well, as I mentioned before, when I was younger, I spent time at Ratner, just southwest of here, and some of the things that I appreciated back then brought my wife and me back here after retirement from Lakeland College. I'd sure like to add my services here to help make Nipawin a place where you and I want to be, spend the rest of my life here. Some of the things that I think we can do to accomplish that as a council, it doesn't hurt to attract new business, and it doesn't hurt to attract big business in some senses. I think there's some opportunities around here. If you look into the future, there's potential nuclear facilities that can generate power. We have a good power line infrastructure here. Why not get on the bandwagon there and get some jobs that are quite well paying, not only for the long term running the place, but for building it. I think also some of the new industry is the hydrogen industry. The government's setting up in the industrial corridor between Regina and Moose Jaw a hydrogen plant to separate hydrogen from methane. Another way of doing that is you can separate it from water. So if we have nuclear facilities, we can use electricity to make hydrogen, which is a very good renewable option. And it's being worked on quite a bit now in Alberta. And like I say, the government here is doing that in the industrial corridor. So why not get on the bandwagon with that and be one of the first in the communities to do it. Lots of things going on. I think there was very good people here that could be great counselors, and I'll just leave it at that. Hope to see you on the 13th.
Thank you, Lyndon. And John.
I guess first of all, I'd just like to thank Lisa and the Chamber for putting this on, and the Apostolic Church for giving us the opportunity to be here. I really, really want to be on the council. My love for this community over the last 35 years has just kept growing. I like volunteering, doing things in the community. When my kids were younger, I was always a supporter of kids' sports by coaching, umping, reffing hockey, whatever was there, giving kids rides to games that didn't have the ability to get there otherwise, and maybe buying them a burger afterwards because they didn't have any cash. And I believe my experience in management of large and small businesses gives me an up on being able to help with council and make decisions to help our town grow into the thriving community that it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And Lisa.
Thank you all again for being here and for caring about Nipawin's future. I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this on, our moderator, Ben, and the Apostolic Church for hosting us. I want to also commend everyone on stage here with me as well as those who were up here on Monday for putting themselves out there. It takes courage, sweaty palms, and a deep commitment to our community. And we are very fortunate to have so many members of our community stepping up to serve this year. Finally, I want to extend my gratitude to our mayor and our council for the service that they have already dedicated to our town. Next year, Nipawin will celebrate its 100th birthday, a century shaped by resilience, hard work, and deep community connections. But like many towns across Canada, we face real challenges, from housing issues to safety concerns to choosing the best path for Nipawin's economic growth. The incoming council will need to prioritize solutions that make Nipawin a safer, more vibrant community for residents and visitors. Our current council has worked hard to address these issues, boarding up unsafe buildings, partnering with law enforcement, and investing in studies to understand what residents truly want for the future. The past few years have been challenging for Nipawin, with some turbulence beyond regular business that has tested the town's resilience and focus. But now that things have steadied, we have an opportunity to build on the positive momentum that's already underway. I'm inspired to see older homes being restored, new businesses opening their doors, and neighbors stepping up for one another. On Canada Day 2023, 119 km/h winds tore through our town, leaving a path of destruction. But our community came together to pick up the pieces, showing what Nipawin is made of, a community that supports each other, that cleans up together, and that rebuilds together. As we look to the future, we must also continue to honor our commitment to truth and reconciliation, ensuring that our actions respect the past and the diverse community that we serve. If you choose to vote fast on November 13th, you can count on me to work hard for this town, for each of you and for future generations that hopefully will include your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. Nipawin was built on values that have endured for nearly a century, and it would be a great privilege to help shape the next 4 years. Thank you.
Those are tough acts to follow. I am grateful for the last 4 years serving you on council, and I would love to serve again the next 4 years. And I believe that I bring my compassion to the table, and I wish everybody else luck on November 13th. I suck at public speaking. I'll be the first to admit it, but if you can get me one-on-one, I will talk your ear off. So I will just leave it at that. Thank you. Good night.
Jeff. They still remembered me over here. Excellent. Oh, I could say so much. But I'll kind of close off with what I find I bring most to the table, and that's the finances, right? Nipawin is in a strong financial position to move forward, not just on development of sewer pipelines, but on development of a lot of things, right? We have extremely low debt and ample reserves of cash, right? And actually March of 2025 we'll be debt-free outside of the new debt that has been approved to do the sewer pipeline. So we are in great shape, right? All while in the last 8 years, we built a water treatment plant with additional wells, which was finished this year, a new pool, a heliport, improving our arenas, new dressing rooms, new lights, new boards in the Centennial Arena, which we can all agree are a lot better without those stanchions in place, right? Just the perfect glass in there. That's great, hey? And lift stations, sidewalks, just to name a few. Nipawin has seen an incredible amount of municipal growth over the last 8 years. And we, to be honest, have our amazing staff to thank for it. Please someone clap right on that. There we go. Like I said, I can't stress in the 8 years the amount of great people I got to work with throughout the administration, and their dedication is really why I want to be up here again. So all I can say is thanks again to the Chamber, Apostolic Church, to you, Ben, to everybody put their name forward, and you guys for listening to me rant one more time, right? And this is my give back to the community. This is what I want to do to help my community. Please let me serve one more time on November 13th. Thank you.
Thank you. So once more, a little round of thank yous. Thank you to Lisa in the chamber. Thank you to Jordan, Chantal, and the Apostolic Church. Thank you to Norm at CGNE, The Storm. Of course, thank you to all you candidates for coming and answering my somewhat difficult questions. Thanks to all of our volunteers. And of course, thank you to our listeners, our viewers, and our audience in attendance. Remember, we have an advance poll, which happens tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Nipawin Civic Office. And then our regular poll, which will take place on November 13th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Nipawin Evergreen Center. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and good night.